Question number 4, explain how persuasive strategies, explain persuasive strategies, explain persuasive strategies. Number 1, repetition, and number 2, using a celebrity. Explain persuasive strategies in advertising. Explain, number 1, repetition, and number 2, celebrity in advertising. Explain persuasive strategies.
You now have 60 seconds to speak. Begin speaking after the beep. Beep.
There are 2 main types of persuasive strategies used in advertising. Number 1, repetition, and number 2, using a celebrity. In number 1, repetition, advertisers will repeat a slogan, whether or not it's true, to convince us to be effective and persuasive in their advertising. From the professor, we heard the example of a commercial that kept saying, plenty of room, plenty of room. Even though the car was small, we as viewers are persuaded to believe that there is plenty of room in that big car. This advertising is scary in how persuasive it is. The second form of effective persuasive advertising is using a celebrity. When it's a famous, popular person telling us something, we tend to believe that person is trustworthy, whether they are or not trustworthy. This is another form of persuasive strategy. The famous popular celebrity gets us to accept the message, even if the message is false. Paulina, is there one thing from my answer that you can use to improve your answers?
Yeah, sure. The speed and the confidence. You were like a bullet.
Speed and confidence, speaking rate and passion.
Like, you know, those Japanese trains.
The bullet trains.
Bullet trains.
Good. Okay. So you said from my end.
Slow, like Amtrak.
Yeah. I'm glad. Okay. So I'm glad that you said you can use the speaking rate and confidence / passion in your answers. And remember, when you shared that, even in your first language, you naturally like to speak slower. So do I, but not during these questions. Okay, very good. And is there anything else that you want to comment or ask me about? Anything else from my answer that can be useful for your speaking answers?
No, it was good enough. Clear enough.
Okay, then if you are ready, I'll get 20 seconds ready for you to give your answer to question number 4. Okay.
Let me open the question.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, you're ready for 20 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, you have 20 seconds to prepare. You may begin preparing now. Time. You now have 60 seconds to give your answer. You may begin speaking now.
The professor explains 2 different techniques used in advertisement. The first one is repetition. When something is repeated often enough, it appears in positive way in people's eyes. For example, there was a car advertisement where there was a car driving around and picking up the friends, and narrator keeps saying that it's plenty room for everyone. When the car was not very big, it gave people the feeling of that it's big because of the constant repetition of narrator. Another example is when celebrities are involved in the advertisement, people find it trustworthy. For example, there was a race driver, and he advertised the car. The car wasn't actually fast, but he keeps saying that it's fast, and people believe that it's impressive for its speed. And those are 2 techniques used in advertisement.
Good. Excellent. Okay. My timer stopped, but I know that was very close to 60 seconds. Very good. Polina, why was that so good? What do you like about your answer? What do you want to remember about your very good answer?
I was trying to speak have faster pace. It was harder for me, but I did not get confused and I continued talking even though it was faster than I would usually talk. Right?
That's great. So you said you were still able to do it effectively, even though that's not your natural pace. So you focused on speaking faster, your speaking rate, and you did well doing it.
And then I try to, have keywords, the key things to remember.
Mm-hmm. And what were those keywords for you?
Those two strategies, repetition and involve the celebrity. And when I have it in my mind, it helps me to focus on them and not run out of time.
Excellent. So what we learned from the last time we did a question number 4, keeping the main focus, the most important part of the question, therefore the most important part of our speaking answer. For this one, repetition and using a celebrity, repetition and celebrity. Yeah, you did very well on that. Okay, let me talk about the notes here. You can interrupt me at any time to say something about the notes or what I'm saying, to ask a question. Overall, very, very good answer. This was one of, if not the best answer that I have liked from you. Even though I didn't like your opening statement, I did like everything else. You said the professor explains 2, so you're setting up talking about the 2 things, which as you just correctly said are repetition and using celebrities. I don't like it just because I don't need, but that's okay. You still did it well here. Everything else I do like. Number 2, so the first is repetition, correct. Topic development. For example, you talked about the example from the professor in the lecture, and then quote, this is the part that I really liked, that I said is very good in parentheses, quote, when the car was not very big, it still gave people the feeling that it was big. You are explaining the persuasion in the advertising. You are doing exactly what the question tells us to do. You are explaining this persuasive strategy in advertising. When the car was not very big, it still gave the feeling that it was very big because
I should have said that in the second reason as well, because in the second reason, it was, oh no, I did say that. I said at the end, so people believe it, the celebrity, even though the car is not impressive for its speed.
Yes, and I took notes of that here, the part that I'm highlighting in red right now. In parentheses, you highlighted the effectiveness, what you just said. You did highlight, point out, you did explain that people will listen to a celebrity, even if it's the truth or not the truth. So the only thing that I want to suggest for your speaking answer in this specific question is, after you say the part that you did say, for example, people will listen to a celebrity even if it's the truth or not the truth, then that's when I would tie it back into the words from the question. So like this, people will listen to a celebrity whether it's the truth or not the truth. This makes using a celebrity very persuasive. This makes using a celebrity a very persuasive form of strategy, of advertising. Okay, so you said that great part. You highlighted the effectiveness of using a celebrity, whether they're telling the truth or not, and then go back to using, boom, the words from the question. This is why using a celebrity is such a persuasive form of advertising. Excellent answer to speaking question number 4. Okay, what do you think? What do you want to remember? So you said that the thing you said you want to remember is you focused on your speaking rate, speaking faster, giving more relevant details that explain, not just summarize. You did a great job of explaining here. And even though you pushed yourself to speak faster, you were still able to do it well.
Well, I think your response helped me to, while I was listening to you, I kept thinking what I can do to improve my answer. And I think one of the reasons that was good because I listened to your response first, and it gave me a chance to prepare better.
To prepare better. Okay. So would you say it has something more to do with expressing yourself, like, speaking really fast, even though it's different, it's not natural, or it had more to do with topic development? It had more to do with organizing the way to say it.
I feel like it's topic development, because in such a short amount of time, it's always stressful to quickly organize it.
In such a short amount of time, it's always stressful to quickly organize it. Yes,
Yeah.
with only 20 seconds to prepare.
That's why everything else, that's why there are those filler words, and that's why there are like slower pace. It's, I think, all comes from that we have such a short amount of time to organize it and do the good topic development.
Yes. Excellent. All right. So
have
let's remember
10-15 minutes to think about it. Everyone will have great topic development. I feel that's the hardest part, that you have to brainstorm, you have to be fast in it.
Yeah. I like the part that you said earlier, remembering to focus on two things based on the question. Explain persuasive strategies used in advertising. Based on that, you said that you did a great job of focusing on the two things, repetition and celebrity. So we're starting to see a pattern with questions number 4.
And also, I think before I used to like explain the point, but it's good to like shortly explain it and go straight to example and explain it through the example. That way I feel like I don't run out of time, because before I used to talk too much about the actual point and trying to explain it, and then when like example is one of the most important parts that you have to include in your response, and I will not have enough time for it. But I think it's good idea to go like as fast as you can to the example, and you can continue explaining the point, but through the example.
Through the example, within the example. Yeah. Yes. Excellent. I agree.
Before I will be like repetition. Repetition is something that is when it's repeated often enough, people start to believe it. So when the product is like, I will talk too much about the actual repetition, but then there is not enough time left for an example of the car, how narrator keeps saying that it's very spacious, like enough room for everyone. I think when I talk too much about the actual point, I run out of time.
Nice. Let's note this in the video. If and when we rewatch this to learn, let's remember that last part of what you just said, how you broke it down. It's making sense. This reminds me of the last time we did question number 4. You said, I'm not going to fall for a trap of something that's too much information that I don't need for the most important part of the question.
And they do it all the time.
Yes, they are all the time. They are challenging us to see if we recognize, if we, number 1, recognize the most important part of the question, and number 2, can synthesize it ourselves. Excellent. I like the way that you're thinking about it. I can tell you are getting a firmer grasp on what to do with these questions. Very good. Okay, I'm going to end this live stream here. For more information, you can check the links in the description of this video.